welcome back to today's science class. How are you guys? Are you fine? Okay. See guys, what we have discussed in our previous class? We have discussed about composting in the previous class, right? And in today's class, we are going to discuss about vermicomposting. So what we are going to discuss in our today's class? Vermicomposting. Okay, let's begin our today's class. Yes. See guys, we have discussed about composting and how we can make the compost in the last class, right? And also we have studied that earthworms are known as farmer's friend. Okay, and there is another type of earthworm known as redworms. We can use these redworms to make compost. So which is the other type of earthworm? Redworms. We can use redworms to make a compost. So such type of composting is known as vermicomposting. Vermicomposting. So what is vermicomposting? Vermicomposting is a method of preparation of compost with the help of redworms. So what is vermicomposting? Vermicomposting is a method of preparing compost with the help of redworms, or we can use redworms to make compost. Such composting is known as vermicomposting. So the method of preparation of compost using redworms are known as vermicomposting. So the other type of worms are known as, earthworm is known as redworms, and this redworms can be used to make a compost. Such compost is known as vermicomposting. So what is vermicomposting? The method of preparation of compost with the help of redworms are known as vermicomposting. The method of preparation of compost using redworms are known as vermicomposting. So composting with the help of worms. Which worms? Redworms. So make preparation of compost with the help of redworms are known as vermicomposting. The name itself indicating vermicomposting. Which worm? Redworms to make the compost. Such compost is known as vermicomposting. The method of preparation of compost with the help of redworms are known as vermicomposting. Okay, then how to make a vermicompost? For that, first make a pit or a big pit or big hole. Make a pit, then place a net under the pit. First you have to make a pit, you have to make a big pit, then place a net under the pit, then over the net spread some sand over the net. After that you can add waste in it. You can add vegetable waste, paper waste, and kitchen waste. You can also add animal waste into this pit. So first make a pit, then place a net under the pit, then over the net spread some sand, then over the sand put the different waste in it. Okay, so after spreading the waste over the sand, you have to sprinkle some water. You don't use more water there, only very little of water needed for the vermicomposting. So make sure that only little water you have to add the waste. Okay, now the pit is ready to welcome the redworms. Okay, so what are the things we have to do? First you have to make a pit, then place a net over the net under the pit, then spread some sand over it, then after that you have to add the vegetable waste, then sprinkle some water over it. Make a pit, place a net under the pit, then place or spread some sand over the net, then add the different types of vegetables, fruits and kitchen waste in it. Then sprinkle some water. After that you can add redworms in it. You can add some redworms in it and cover it clearly with a cloth or a grass, etc. So cover it clearly. Make a pit, place a net under the pit, then spread some sand over it, put the waste, sprinkle the water. Then put the red worms in it, then cover them clearly. Okay, so this is the way of making vermicompost. Okay, let me repeat it. Make a pit, then place a net under the pit, then spread the sand over it, then put the waste, then sprinkle the water, then put the red worms, close it clearly. Okay, so this is the way of making vermicompost. Then now we are going to discuss about the type of food which needed by the red worms. As you know, red worms eat the food which we put in the pit. So that pit contains different types of waste like vegetable waste, coffee waste, tea waste, etc. So these type of food are red worms require these type of waste. Food waste, vegetable waste, tea waste, then coffee waste, etc. And another very much important thing, don't put oil, pickle, vinegar, milk, such type of waste into the pit. So while we add the waste into the pit, make sure that there should not be oil, pickle, milk, vinegar, etc. If we add these type of waste into the pit, it produces disease-making organisms. So, if unknowingly, if we add oil, milk, vinegar, pickle, etc. into the pit, they produces disease-producing organisms, which is not good. So, don't put oil, vinegar, milk, pickle, etc. into the pit. Okay, another very much important point, you see, red worms do not have teeth. Red worms do not have teeth, but they have a structure named gizzard. What is the name of that structure? Gizzard. This gizzard helps the red worms to grind the food. I told you, red worms do not have teeth, but they have a structure known as gizzard which help the red worms to grind the food. So which part help the red worms to grind the food? Gizzard. Is the red worms have teeth? No, red worms do not have teeth, but the gizzard helps the red worms to eat the food or grind the food. Okay, and we can add, egg pieces, egg. We can add white colored egg pieces, egg shell. Okay, so we can add egg pieces or eggshell pieces to the waste, and these eggshells helps the red worms to grind fastly. So these, eggshell pieces helps the red worms to grind fastly. I told you there is no teeth for the red worms, but the structure gizzard help the red worms to grind. So if we add eggshell pieces into the waste, that eggshells helps the red worms to grind the food. Okay, now another one, red worms do not live in the too hot or too cold climate. Red worms cannot live in a place where too hot and too cold. So red worms cannot live in the places where there is more hot or where there is more cold. So it live in a normal range. It do not live in the conditions where more hot or more cold. It requires a normal range. And earthworms need, wetness. It need moisture to live. So you may see that we see earthworms are living in the, wetty areas. So just like redworms also lives in the wetty areas, the places where there is little water. Okay, and another thing, earthworms eats the food which is equal to its weight. Earthworms eats the food which is equal to its weight. How much weight it have, that much amount of food earthworms eats. Okay, so earthworms eats the food which is equal to its weight. So earthworms do not have teeth, but the structure gizzard helps to grind. We can add eggshell pieces to eggshell pieces in the waste, which helps which help to grind food fastly. Okay, so if there is eggshell pieces, that eggshell pieces helps the redworms to grind. Then we discussed that earthworms do not live in the climate where too cold, too hot. It requires normal range. And earthworms require moisture. It lives in the wetty areas. And earthworms eats the food which is equal to its weight. And the last points, if you want to remove the compost from the pit, what we have to do? For that, you can add some waste in one corner. If we add some waste in one corner, these redworms shift to move to that place. So if you want to remove the compost, first you have to, replace we have to remove the redworms, right? Because these, compost contains enough redworms. Lot of redworms you can see in the compost. So if you want to take that compost, what you have to do? You have to add some waste in one corner. Then all the redworms moves to that waste. At that time, you can remove the compost from that area, because in that area you cannot see any redworms. That all the redworms shifted to the place where we kept the waste. So you can remove the compost from that area. So if you want to remove the compost, first we have to do, you have to add some waste in one corner. Then these redworms shift to that place and you can remove the compost from that area. So what is vermicomposting? Vermicomposting is a method of preparing compost with the help of redworms. That is vermicomposting. So which part help the redworms to grind? Gizzard. And the redworms lives in the climate where there is no too much hot or too much cold. Okay, and earthworms need moisture. So these are the things we have to discuss in today's class. And watch the video carefully. We will meet you soon with another video. Till then, it's bye. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.